What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk some Packers on this glorious February 18th. As we're getting this work week kind of going here, Tim, we're expecting, 2 to 4 inches of snow in the next 24 hours. You guys know that's the equivalent up in Wisconsin to 2 feet when it comes to the state of Tennessee. So how we doing, gent?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Glad you're getting some snow instead of rain. Switch it up a little bit for you guys down there. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like it's going to stay cold for a couple of weeks at least. And then I imagine we'll start cracking into the 60s and we'll be well on our way, no doubt about it. So, of course, I tell you, man, we speak 60s and look who jumps in here. This knucklehead right here. It says it's not connected yet, though. So I'm wondering if he might be on the road. He may be on the road.
He might be dragging a trailer down the highway right now. You never know.
Never know. Or the trailer might be dragging him down the highway right now. It could be that too. So he probably doesn't even know we're live. So Amelia, I know you can hear me. Nod your head. Yeah, we're live, sir.
Here's the guy.
Nothing inappropriate.
Computer froze for a second there. Oh, great. Yeah, that's why it froze. Look who's showing up now.
Yeah, and then you got this guy right here, old Rusty Valentine. We're live, Jacob. Just want you to know we are live, sir. So
good call. Good call.
You can only imagine the things that go on in here, pre-show and post-show for sure. Before we kind of dive into some of the stuff that I've got lined up for the show tonight, is there anything you guys want to hit on right off the bat? Anything at the forefront of your mind? I always ask you that. 90% of the time you say no, but just want to open the floor up for anybody here.
Kendall Fuller, yes or no?
Oh, go ahead, Tim. You first.
No, Jacob's way better because I was going to say, have we talked about Jaden Higgins recently?
Hey, Ryan did on his pod. That was interesting, man, talking about the drop rate,
Yep.
I thought about doing one of those, which receiver would you rather have, and list out, the top 5 receivers in the draft and watch everybody just pounce on Jaden Higgins, even though he's projected 3rd round. Go ahead, Jacob. What'd you have, man?
Just wondering if you guys have talked about, is it Kendall Fuller, the cornerback from the Dolphins that got released? Not sure if he'd be worth taking a
we looked at him last night, actually. His projected market value is $7.5 million. So who knows? It could be 8 to 10 million per. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't think you were as impressed with him as I was. I know I kind of listed him as one of 3 corners that I would be willing to pick up for the right price. But
yeah, I wasn't quite as excited as you were. He's right at that 30, dirty 30, as they call it in the NFL. I'd feel better if Ja was still on the team and we picked up a guy like Kendall Fuller, but I don't think we're going to be able to do both of those. It's one or the other. And I think my sentiment was I'd rather have Ja stick around than bring Fuller in.
Got it. Jacob, what's your take on it, man? Since it's at the forefront of your mind, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think if I had to pick, I'd probably side with Tim. Brief stuff I got to look at him. I think he was drafted in 2016. Like Tim said, he's at that 30 mark. Kind of had a very quiet career with maybe like they drafted him fairly early, I believe, thinking that he would become like a shutdown corner. I think he spent some time in Kansas City with the Commanders and then went over to the Dolphins. I hadn't get a chance to look at his PFF grids, but it didn't sound very promising. In the article I was reading, they actually said that if they brought him in, that it would be more likely that they just want him as a depth player and not really a projected starter, which I'd be more okay with. But then I'd want to be paying him more like the 4 or 5 mil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Emilio? You got anything on Kendall?
Yeah, nothing. Besides, it was just his birthday, so dude just cracked 30. I think it's a pass for me, unless it's cheap, unless it's got that yellow sticker on it.
There you go, Ross the boss, right? All right, so Kendall Fuller, passer rating when targeted, 89.8, yards per target allowed, 6.8. All right, now if you compare it to Keyshawn Nixon, you've got Keyshawn Nixon at 101.2 passer rating when targeted, and then yards per target was 6.1. So if you remove the name, you remove the salary, said which player would you rather have between Keyshawn Nixon and Kendall Fuller based off those 2 key analytics from last year, I'd probably go Kendall Fuller. But if you're telling me you got to pay $8 to $10 million a year for Kendall Fuller, I think I'll stick with Keyshawn. You know what I mean? One of those deals. So, and when you compare Carrington Valentine, man, Carrington Valentine's 69 passer rating allowed, when targeted. and 8.7 yards per target there. So out of all four of those corners, with the fourth being Jair Alexander, Carrington Valentine had the best passer rating allowed at 69, as where Ja was second at 77.6, Kendall Fuller was third at 89.8, and Keyshawn Nixon was 101.2. But it is worth mentioning the reason that was so much higher is because he gave up 6 touchdowns last year. At least that's what PFF, I think, had him at, or no, NFL Pro had him at allowing. Now, when you look at the yards per target, Keyshawn was the best, Kendall Fuller was second, Jair was third, and Carrington Valentine was fourth. So you want to kind of compare it across the board there. But there you go. That pretty much cover it, Jacob?
That'll cover it. And unfortunately, there's been multiple comments in the chat already asking about my butt tattoo. Yeah, the goal is to have it done, ready for you guys to view by the draft. All right, I'm working on my.
You got to work it in between the shifts, at the office, right?
I'm working on losing like 40 pounds and shaving that sucker for you, Emilio.
Wow.
Hey, put it on the ticker.
No, but
so anyways, back to free
free
agent cornerback talk.
and shaving that sucker for you. My
yeah, no shot.
Let's talk
Don't
about
even
more
put
free
my
agent
name up
corners.
for that.
What, Tim? What?
Can we just talk about more free agent cornerbacks?
We could if you want.
How about that Asante Samuel Jr., huh? We haven't talked about him.
Here's the guy.
There you go. I don't know. Anything to change the subject from Jacob's ass to
if
football.
Jacob shows up in April to lot 1 and he's got some, I'm trying to think of the appropriate term. I've got about 3 different versions that people use. All of them are inappropriate. Some short shorts with that butt cheek hanging out, right?
Lieutenant Jay Dangle from Reno 911.
Man, when he comes out with them boots and kicks them up in the air sideways.
Just goofing. Just new boot goofing.
All right, let's jump into Twitter. It's already off the rails bad. I thought this was a cool graphic by Football Insights at @football_insights. You guys know we talked about defensive tackle a lot last year. We got the draft. I've got my draft board right here in front of me. We can kind of talk about some of these players that we were pretty high on. When they were breaking down their college tape or college statistics, what have you, what they included here is where they played, what tech they played, right? You've got A gap, you got B gap, and then over the tackle. And then, of course, you've got run stop rate, you've got the run defense grade, and then pass rush, you've got the pass rush win percentage and the pass rush grade. So you can see here at the top in this year's class, you got Mason Graham leading the way there. And I think they're using kind of a combination of all of these things to rank them. It looks to me like they're ranked, or maybe they're in position by where they're at on the board. But Mason Graham at the top. Second, they've got Walter Nolan, who his strength is definitely run defense, right? His run defense grade was 91.6, run stop rate 11.9%, his pass rush win rate at 10.9%, so a little lower, and his pass rush grade at 75. So it seems as if Walter Nolan might be a little more of a run defender. Both of those guys are B-gap players, what we refer to as the 3 tech, okay? Kenneth Grant, third here. He obviously, of all these players, he's one that can play a 1 tech, but he also can play the 3, right? He's got 31% of his snaps came in the A gap, which is typically a 1 tech or playing shade over the center. And then you've got 68% of his snaps, he played B gap, 3 tech, maybe a 4-eye, that type of look right there. So I thought this was interesting, man. And again, his run stop rate is only 7.9%. His grade was 86.3. His pass rush win rate, 9.4%. His grade, 75.3. So if you were to remove the names and look at some of these numbers, I don't think I would be as high on Kenneth Grant. However, you guys know how we feel about him. He's sitting in the number 15 spot on our board. So I won't list them all off. Let's just go around the horn. I'm assuming you guys can read this okay. Let's keep it on topic with the prospects from this year's draft, and then we'll go back to last year. And I've got some PFF grades I can pull up in real time to see how PFF think they graded out. But let's start with you, Emilio. What sticks out to you here, man, on the chart?
Yeah, I think that was a great point out there, Kenneth Grant, with the A gap alignment at 31%. I think it's also looking at Darius Alexander, who's been climbing up the board a lot. Dude is strictly sitting in B gap. I think that's kind of cool, but it is against Toledo, so I'm taking those grades with just a little bit of salt, but I really do like that. And I think TJ Sanders is one that might sneak up on us too, just being strictly in that B gap.
Mm-hmm.
I like looking at the numbers like this, so crunch it way down, kind of got your middle of the row, and then you can kind of work from there.
Yep. Go ahead, boys. Round the horn. Tim, you go ahead, man. We'll go backwards this time.
I was really high on Talik Williams for a while. But I really feel like the more I look at the mocks and stuff, I feel like Darius Alexander probably has the best chance of being a Packer at the end of the day. Early prediction, going into the draft, knowing that we're probably going to have to reach for, a Mason Graham or, even a Tyleek Williams, someone like that. So I don't know if on our board, did Darius Alexander have a visit? Does he have a cheese emoji next to his name?
Do not think he does. Let me double check real quick though.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he did not.
Yeah. I look at his PFF grades and I just look at some tape and look at where he's projected to go and how things are shaping up. Like putting my Goody hat on, I feel like this is a guy that he might draft. I don't know when it comes to this position group specifically. I mean, Walter Nolan's another name that I like a lot, but I feel like guys like Derek Harmon or Darius Alexander are more realistic to fall to the Packers.
Especially it being a deep draft, right, Tim? Like they've been talking so much about it being a deep D-line draft, and the fact that like if you can, I mean, when does Goody take a lot of shots? We took a lot of shots at tight end when it was a deep tight end class, and just kind of rinse and repeat. So I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah, I actually was going to talk about how my favorite pick for the later round steals would be Derek Harmon. I'm not exactly sure where you've got him listed on your consent, or not the consensus, but your guys' board. I just look at, he just seems very well all around. I mean, you've got guys obviously up towards the top like Mason Graham and Nolan, but I'd look down farther there and he seems well-rounded, decent sized school, played some great talent. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that his grades were one of those where you saw the progression pretty much each year he was there. And I'd like to see us take him at some point.
Yeah, we've got Derek Harmon in the 24 spot at the moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Him back to Darius Alexander. We actually got him, I think, in the 104 spot, 105-ish, somewhere in there. But yeah, Jacob, I think what Jacob's pointing out here, it's a great point, is when you look at this chart, it's easy to go, man, give me the dark green, give me the dark green.
Yeah.
You should probably look at someone's a little more balanced, like look at someone who has the least amount of red. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of look at it from that perspective. And really the player that sticks out to me here is kind of TJ Sanders, Yep. He's the dude. Obviously the pass rush win rate wasn't great, but the grade 81.9, pretty decent. You don't see him being like bad at anything. Now, if you're going a premium on pass rush, because obviously we used some run stunting and things like that last year to stop the run, then maybe you do just key in on that pass rush win rate and go with someone like Jacob's talking about, Derek Harmon, 17.6% pass rush win rate, and then just kind of let the defense or the run defense take care of itself. But yeah, I see what you're saying, Jacob. He doesn't have any bright red there either, man. Just that light pink there on the run stop rate, right?
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. Kind of similar to Alexander too. Look at his chart. You're not seeing any red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know this. Johnny B in the chat says, can we double up Nolan in the first and Harmon or Alexander in the second? I would be okay with it, Johnny, but you and I would get ran out of town if we said that publicly. So I'm glad we're not live right now, okay? There's many people that's just, D tackle ain't a big deal. And I'm thinking it's amazing how we forget, man. We forget how we just got manhandled there in the middle. I mean, on the trenches, both sides. And that's the thing that gets me is like the further you get away from the end of the season, it's like we all start to forget what actually happened. It's more, what's the buzz? Who's the buzz pick? Who's the prospect this week that everybody's excited about? And you kind of fall into that. That's why I try to create our board the way we do, is to remove the majority of that hype and get, okay, how do we actually feel about these players at the end of the year as opposed to, getting too deep into the off season here. So let's see, Jake Shavink in the chat. I hope there's a mock draft in the works at the end of the show. If we've got time, what we're going to do is Daniel Jeremiah put a mock draft 2.0 out. We will use the Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator, and we'll put his picks in. And then when we get to Green Bay's, we'll hold up for a minute, kind of have a discussion. All right, who would you go with here? Go around the horn, that type of thing. I think will be a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll have time to do that. Johnny B, can we double up? Nolan in the first, we hit that one, right? So anything else you guys want to hit on this chart in terms of the prospects coming into this year? Because I know we were talking the other day, Omar Norman Lott looked pretty solid. According to this chart, not so much, right? So
I thought he did look solid, Clay. Look at the boy up there leading the pass rush with the 18%. Come on now.
That is
200 attempts.
That's getting after it. Now that 6% run stop, that worries me a little bit. But again, you may go that path of, hey, let's just go get a pass rusher, and we'll take care of the run defense. Don't worry about it.
Right, and they asked him. I mean, looking at it there, they asked him to play 30% over the tackle. I mean, that's a wide 4.25. So I mean, they could be getting gashed up the. I mean, I don't remember all the games, but they could have been getting gashed up the middle if he's setting up that wide. But I mean, I do, that excites me, that pass rush. I mean, if that's what we're worried about, if we want Coop and Quay, whoever the other linebacker is, to flow to the ball, get down on run plays, I'm cool with that. Just be the body. I mean, if that's his worst spot, that's the lowest grade that we had on all the run defense. Maybe we live with that if we picked up a Harmon or somebody else kind of thing.
I think there's a logic to that for sure, that the emphasis is clearly on pass rush, right? If we're going to make a concession at all, we're willing to deal with a little bit of downside when it comes to the run fit. If you're a monster in the pass rush,
Definitely. You guys remember last year, Byron Murphy was like hands down our best defensive tackle in the draft, right? We talked about that. He wasn't in the top tier of talent. He had a grade of 13.8. Put that into perspective, some of the prospects that were above him at different positions, people like Chop Robinson, Quinyon Mitchell, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Daniels, Drake May, people like that, right? So it's not like he was – even though he was our top defensive tackle, it wasn't like he was considered a Mason Graham, how Mason Graham looks on the board this year, right? But he actually had a down year, man. I went and ran back through. I can do this each player individually. Byron Murphy, which, by the way, I don't know what happened to this cat. You guys ever seen – you guys used to watch Chappelle's show back in the day, right? You guys remember the Prince episode?
Oh, yes.
Tell me this doesn't ring a bell, Ray. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I'm just saying. I seen it and I went, we'll call it shirts versus skins.
Game blouses.
That's what it was, blouse. God almighty, man. You guys want some pancakes?
Hey, I've read now multiple times that's legit. Prince could ball. He would actually take you, and he could ball, dude.
They thought they were joking. Charlie Murphy never told a lie. I don't believe, man. Even with old Cuzzy getting kicked 6 feet in the air and hitting the mirror and sliding down. Anyway, so Byron Murphy last year, guys, don't cheat. If you've already looked it up, stay quiet. All right. What do you think Byron Murphy's PFF grade was his rookie year? Because we've been critical of Devontae Wyatt over the years. Like, hey, is he actually worth a first-round pick? Again, this was the top defensive tackle on our draft board last year. And it's, Seattle took him at 16, right around that mark that we had him on the board. What would you guys guess his PFF grade was?
62.
58.
I'll take 57 so I can cover everything below 10.
You were close, 58.2.
Ah, nice.
58.2. So again, I read that. Okay, well, man, he really sucked, didn't he? Oh, God. So let's go look at Aurora, I think it's Aurora, right? And see what his PFF grade was last year. He played, looks like he was hurt until week 5, and then he played week 5 pretty much through 8, and then he was hurt again until 15, and then played, weeks 15 through 18. His PFF grade, 56.2. You're seeing the trend here, I thought this was wild. Jerzon Newton, you guys remember, we were pretty high on him. I want to say he was our second best defensive tackle on the draft board last year. His PFF grade, 52.7.
Dang.
Right? Now, if you'll remember, the one defensive lineman that everybody's like, yeah, but he's out of shape and he's kind of big and I don't know, he'd be probably an A-gapper, was T'Vondre Sweat, right? He is, to the best of my knowledge, had the best grade of everyone. I'm gonna see if I can find it here real quick.
Wasn't he in the like 70s or something?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he had a pretty successful year.
76.2.
Let's go.
Yeah, his run defense grade 75, pass rush grade 64.7, tackle grade 69.7. So again, if we look at our board, and this is what we're talking about, like it's tough to. If you looked at these prospects from last year, though, T'Vondre Sweat pops off. Does he not pop off the chart right here when you look at this graphic we got on the screen? But again, people were kind of down on him, and that's why it's important to really draw your own conclusion. Don't listen to the hype and the downfall of some of these guys. You got to be real careful. We had T'Vondre Sweat as the third best defensive tackle with a grade of 39 on him. So he was in the range with Jordan Morgan. He was right there on the same tier with Jordan Morgan.
He was
Y'all
the
remember
best
too.
guy around.
Biggest criticisms or unknowns is that, hey, he's next to Byron Murphy. Like, which one is Catalyst A or Catalyst B or 1A or 1B? I would argue that it probably looks like T'Vondre was the better player out of the two, even though it's weird that Byron had more snaps in that A gap with just the size difference there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sounded a little muffled. Did you guys hear that too?
Yeah, I think it might have just cut out for a sec.
Gotcha. You probably got a little wonky on us. But yeah, so T'Vondre Sweat so far, the best in his class. Braden Fisk, you guys remember they were talking about him for being Defensive Rookie of the Year? Y'all remember that?
Yeah,
His PFF grade, 57.5 with a tackle grade of 29.1.
That's wild.
Now, again, what stood out about Braden Fisk last year? He was the fastest, best of my knowledge, he was the fastest defensive tackle to run the 40, right?
The fastest guy around?
Some would say. So, again, man, it's what's important to you. And the fact that on this chart, the fourth listed defensive tackle, T'Vondre Sweat, has hands down had the best season, really should tell you something. Just because you got all the measurables, just because you like Byron Murphy, we know why he was rated so high. Look at this, 9.5%. Like there's nothing in the red, dark green on the pass rush win rate at 19.6 and the pass rush grade of 91.5. But again, T'Vondre Sweat was a teammate of his, and we always talk about did one benefit from the other. Kind of feels like Byron Murphy was benefiting from T'Vondre Sweat eating double teams, It really does. So I thought that was really interesting. Mason Smith, I haven't looked this one up yet. Let's see what Mason Smith looks like here real quick. Mason Smith, he went to Jacksonville. God love his heart. 43.7. 43.7. Chris Jenkins.
Did you say he went to Jacksonville?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Duval.
I was waiting for it. All right. So next you've got Chris Jenkins. We were pretty excited about him. I remember thinking, man, that'd be cool to have Cullen's. I think it was his nephew, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Awesome. 45.4 PFF grade.
Yeesh.
I mean, you're seeing there's only been one of these rookie defensive tackles that graded out in the 70s. That's wild to think about. And then Michael Hall Jr., we were pretty high on our board. And I'm trying to think. I don't know what he graded out as here. 67.7. Guess what, guys? He fell to the second round. Selection 54. So your two best defensive linemen out of this list from last year was T'Vondre Sweat, third on our board, and then Michael Hall Jr. This is according to PFF. Again, it's not everything. But Michael Hall Jr. we had as way down. And by the way, he was one of those, what was it, Emilio, 6 or 7 players that were in the magenta color, meaning they were a perfect match for the Packers.
Yep.
He was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th on our board. So these guys we keep talking about at 3-Tech, that guy's a stud, that guy's a stud. We're going off the information we got, but the reality is the large majority of them probably not going to pan out. That's wild to think about. There was something else too. You guys remember us talking about Leonard Taylor? Do you remember this, Emilio, during the draft, Tim? Remember Leonard Taylor fell, and it's like, why is nobody taking him? Because we had a pretty high grade on him. Do y'all remember that?
Yep.
I wonder what do we know what happened there by chance?
I thought it was either injury or character issue that made him fall, but I could be wrong.
He ended up going to the Jets. free agent, undrafted free agent, right? They picked him up. He played 261 snaps, 62.7 PFF grade. It looks like he finished the season on their roster. They looks like he got his first playing time in week 3. So for what that's worth, I remember thinking, why is everybody passing on him? And I still, like you said, Jacob, you just kind of assume that's what it is, right? That it's some kind of disciplinary thing. But,
Right.
Mike Witt with the super chat. Thank you, Mike. He said, hey, guys, I don't know how high he is ranked, but I really like a cornerback from Kentucky. Very good ball skills and run stopper. Forget his name, though. You're probably talking about Maxwell Harrison.
Yep.
Right. I don't imagine whose that is. Amelia, you know where we have him on the board now? I know he's shuffled around quite a bit, hasn't he?
Maxwell Harrison, we have him 97th.
There you go. He started off low, didn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
his 24 grade was rough, being 484. So I don't know if he got hurt or anything, but his 2023 grade, he was 62nd. And then PFF 74 on the big board, 74th consensus had him 62.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 81 right now, according to PFF.
There you go.
But it's not cooperating with me, so that might not be accurate. I'm trying to pull him up, and it keeps redirecting.
He's sliding a little bit ever since they put him in. And DJ's got him 44th, 33rd has him 57th, and Dane has him 54th. So he's kind of sitting right there. I was also listening to Move the Sticks, and they had Nagy on talking to DJ and them, and they said that the Iowa corner, Darian Porter, they said that he covered fastest guy, right? I think there. So, you just got to kind of keep it in mind, but he's right around where they are as well. And then the next nearest person would be Anthony Johnson Jr., the cornerback out of Western Kentucky.
Another Ant Johnson Jr.?
Yeah, what?
We don't have him on a big board is the only problem.
We got to get him on the board. What's keeping us?
No, I have him on the board. I can't find him on the big board at all. Like no PFF and consensus doesn't have him.
Gotcha. Hopefully that answers your question there, Mike Witt. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. Jay Cole says, I would be okay with CJ West and Peebles. That's 2 players that the Packers have shown interest in for sure.
Man, that's a name that keeps coming up, right?
I love Peebles and West.
Yep.
Yeah. And think about this, man. Like, we talk about it a lot, and then when the draft gets closer, it's, hey, let's take some money in the first round. Based off the information that we just shared with everybody, and this is just strictly PFF grades, take it how you want. Wouldn't it suggest you trade back in that scenario if you're looking to take a 3-tech? You know what I'm saying? And maybe have 2 swings at it. Now, here's what's crazy. What's been the big criticism of Brian Gutekunst? It wasn't free agency. He knocked it out of the park. It's not later round picks. He knocked those out of the park, right? It's first round picks. LVN hasn't panned out, right? Well, we take him at 13, I believe it was, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
That's you guys 13. So you take LVN, he hasn't panned out yet. I'm still holding out hope. But in that scenario, wouldn't it have made more sense to trade back, based off of what we've seen so far? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think the year before. You go back to the Quay Walker year. I think that makes a lot of sense to trade back. Devontae Wyatt, now he is our best pass rusher, so that's a little bit for me, on the interior. He's definitely the most consistent pass rusher. That's not my words, that's Goody's. And he wasn't provoked in asking, who was your best pass rusher on the interior? They asked about him, and he offered that information. He was definitely our most consistent pass rusher on the interior. So I don't know, man. It just seems like I start off the draft process every year, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud. It's, man, I'm team trade back. In the last few weeks, it's like, who could we get at 23? What makes the most sense? And now here we are a couple of weeks later, and I'm going, damn, we need to trade back. It keeps coming back. I don't know. Does that make sense? And what's your all's take on that type of mindset?
I mean, with the few amount of picks that we have, and looking at, the depth in this draft, based on position groups and position of need versus best overall available, I think there's logic to trade back. Depending on what you're trying to target in that first and second round. But, maybe this is the year, we're all speculating what's Goody going to do with the first round pick. It's like, I'm still not convinced that he won't trade it away. And, drafting Green Bay or not, I think he's going to do what's best for the team. And if he thinks trading back is going to be the best thing for the Packers, then I think he'll do it. I mean, hell, he might trade up, I don't know, but I don't know if we necessarily stick and pick right there in the first round.
Yeah, I feel like, man, the drafts I really liked were going backwards or moving up. Every time we just kind of stuck and pick, I just wasn't sure on it. But I'm still to the point where I don't think we're going to go crazy scattershot. I really don't think he's going to want over like 8 picks, but I could be wrong. He could want to go to town, sign 12 of them, and then cut half, and then we should be good to go. Find the team, a little competition. But yeah, I really either liked going up to get our boy, or let's just go back and get a couple more shots.
Yeah. Let's see here. JJ McQuaid says in the chat, take 2 defensive tackles this draft. Fred McFarley says Wooden and Brooks. We did that at 3-tech, 2 swings. It's a good point, right?
But when was the last time we took a 3-tech? Before pick 100,
right?
I mean, for Wooden and Brooks, we took in what 4th, 5th, 6th round. So it's not like the last time we spent a pick on somebody in the top 100 picks for the D line would have been
Wyatt.
Yeah.
And before that, when it's like.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So sometimes you got to take those talent. That's where I'm like, let's trade away those old later picks and let's just try to figure out how to wiggle our way up into the third, middle of the third, end of the third, something like that. Get a couple extra.
Yeah, definitely another way of looking at it for sure. Johnny B in the chat. Can you do an in-depth look at Luke Kandra and Connor Colby as interior offensive linemen? All right. Luke Kandra, we have in the 89 spot. All right. PFF 22 grade. He was the 68th best interior offensive lineman. I'm sure it was guard probably. 2023 he jumped all the way to 10th. 2024 he fell back a little bit to 23rd, but still a solid grade. The consensus big board had him at 159. The PFF big board had him at 123. Again, we've got him at the 89 spot.
And he dropped to 144 on PFF right now.
Did he really? Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Connor Colby we're much lower on here, Johnny. Johnny Be Good. 276th 2022 PFF grade. In 2023, he jumped to 71. In 2024, he fell back to 276. That's really weird. He fell all the way back to the same number. We have him currently in the 218 spot. He was at 118 on the PFF big board at the time and 152 on the consensus big board at the time. Where's Connor Colby at now on the PFF big board, Tim?
162.
Gotcha. All right, so he's fallen since we had him there at the 118 spot. So we'll probably end up having him a little higher than some people will, I would imagine. But right now, that's where he's sitting until we get some of the other draft board information in. Mike Witt with the super chat. Something nobody is talking about since season ended. Kenny Clark looked really old. Was it the new defense or Father Time catching up? Mike, I'm sure you've heard us say this many times. I don't want to pile on too much, but I did not want them to re-sign Kenny. And I was saying, man, I'd be very surprised if they give him a new contract. And lo and behold, they gave him a new contract. And then last year he took a step back, but I'm not going to sit here and BS y'all. You guys know, you watched this show. We were holding out hope that this was going to unlock Kenny, right? Yep. Now, I tried to curb the enthusiasm a little bit because I was explaining to people, guys, they didn't 2-gap every snap, last year or the year before in 2023. There was a lot of 1-gapping going on, and many people in the sports media were making it sound like the interior defensive linemen were just playing 2-gap all the time. That was not the case. So I'm not crazy surprised that we go to a 4-3 and we're predominantly 1-gap, and all of a sudden he didn't hit there. But again, I think I was expecting him to play a little more 3-tech. That's what everybody was saying, right? You remember It was no longer is he going to be playing nose, he's going to be playing 3-tech. And I kept saying, man, guys, he's already playing 3-tech. What the hell are y'all watching? Like how are we watching the same game and you just magically you convince yourself that he's playing in a spot he wasn't, And then lo and behold, this year we go to a 4-3 and they kick him to a 1-tech. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. What's your all's take on that with Kenny Clark there?
I think it's a little of both, right? The new defense and Father Time, Let's be honest. I mean, we've kind of, I don't know. I don't want to drag any player. You know me. Same. I don't want to do that. But we've been kind of down on Kenny the past couple of years. And, with Half coming in and, new regime, new scheme, all of that, we thought for sure he'd be unlocked. And, we didn't ultimately see it. He's not getting any younger, right?
Yeah. To me, it's a money thing. The amount of money that we've paid this guy over his career, and you stack that up with what the top performing D tackles have done in comparison to his results. I can't, that's one receipt I can't audit and be happy with.
Yeah, it's one of those big.
Doge now?
Yeah. One of
No
those
comment.
IOUs. That's a big one, Jacob. You're going to want to hang
You're
on.
gonna want to. That's a Ferrari. You might want to hang
Yeah.
on that one.
But I think it's true, though, really. I mean, they paid him coming into his 30. Yeah, they paid him coming into, 2024, 2025, expecting him to be ready to roll it and, performing at that pay scale. He's our highest cap hit.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting on Kenny. We just need more. That's the truth, man. When you are the highest cap hit, we need you to step up. Same with kind of Rashawn. You're up there. You're climbing, coming back from an injury. I'm not just pointing at one, but and also, hey, let's get a running mate. Is Devontae White going to be that guy? Do we need to get another 3 tech? Let's get somebody on the other side of Rashawn so he has somebody to take a little focus off of. So it's a little bit of the team building aspect, but it's also a little bit of, hey, we need some more from the players.
Yeah, definitely. Joe in the chat, do y'all think who we draft first for defense shows what scheme Hafley plans to run, i.e. corner means a true 4-3 or a 3-tech he sticks with simulated package? That's a great question. If he takes a corner, I don't think it has anything to do with scheme, me personally. I think it's more along the lines of even if Ja's back, there's a chance that they take a corner in the first round because Jair hasn't proven he can stay healthy, And again, if you guys haven't listened to Ryan's podcast, his most recent one, go listen to it. He kind of talks about it too. It sounds like he's come to the realization too, like, yeah, there's something going on behind the scenes there for there to be this much smoke, And he pointed out, Devondre Campbell was kind of complaining about being asked to play hurt. And, of course, then he got raked over the coals because he played bad. That was his perspective. Since then, I think we would all agree Devondre is just kind of been his own worst enemy everywhere he's went. If everywhere you go, it smells like that. You guys know the saying. Yeah. So I don't know, man. When it comes to Ja and that whole situation, I think if we draft a corner, it's going to be more along the lines of, hey, even if Ja's on a roster, we can't really depend on him to be healthy, as opposed to I need this corner to run the scheme I want to run. I was not surprised at all that Hafley pressed into the zone as much as he did. Because we try to set the stage the entire season for that, man.
Yeah, we heard all, press man, we're going to be aggressive. And, like the whole logic that man-to-man and being aggressive go hand in hand. I mean, it's true to a certain extent, but you can be aggressive as hell with zone and, mirror match, those kind of things. So I don't think we were surprised to see the amount of zone that Hafley mixed in. But some people might have been,
No, definitely. All right, anything you guys want to add to that? Emilio, Jacob, anything else?
I just think to put a cap on the Kenny conversation quick, number one Packer fan brings up a good point. I can't be down on a player who's doing what he asked him to. Says it's not his fault that he got major paid either. And then Doc came in and said something similar. He says the coaches were asking him to touch spy and eat double teams. It's their fault, not Kenny's. I think that that's a valid argument. I think that's fair.
Emilio, that's where it feels weird because it's like that's your highest paid dude.
Yeah.
And, and it wasn't like they're going out of their way to double Kenny. We were lining him up in the 1-tech to almost force a double team. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you expect him to come on the field and he's eating up those kind of snaps. It's like, hey, do we want to put TJ Slayton out there and have him soak up the double team, or is that really what we want? We want Kenny to stand there, engage, shed, and get down the line. That might be it. Maybe we just have more faith and trust in him, but then, hey, he needs a running mate that can do it with him if we're going to ask him to do that much of it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's see here. Joe in chat says, do y'all think
we just hit that, but to that point, I still would like Hafley to stay in multiples. I think pigeonholing it into just like a 4-3, like Matt was saying, 3 high, that's cool. I like that, but I mean, look what slowed down, look what slowed down the Chiefs against Philly was 2 high shell. They stayed it in 75% of the time, and they blitzed or they rushed 4 every single time. They simmed one or 2, right? And just as a look, but still only brought 4, which we did all year. So I don't see why we would get away from it because it kind of worked for us. I do think that we might need to flutter in a little bit more 2 high shell and keep everything in front of you. So that's all I'm running in college football, right, Jacob? Is cover 4, keep everything underneath. Honestly, 2-3 dime cover 4, call it a day.
That's why we got to beef up that D line, baby.
Yeah,
we need some personnel in there to do that.
Amelia plays on freshman though.
I love trolling people online, complaining about quarters coverage. They're like, my guy, he's in man coverage. He ain't playing zone. I'm like, you're a knucklehead. You don't know what quarters is.
Yeah. And they have it too now, Clay, in the college football. They have match now. They have cover 4 match. I'm like, dude, perfect. Thank you. Let the guy, if you're running a streak route, fine, run with him.
And when you play quarters on that, whether it's that or Madden, quarters means unless it's specified, a quarters drop. And they're not going to call it country quarters, but that's right. What like Coach Haddad called it. But if it's just called quarters, right? That cover 4 quarters is zone match anyway, and it's just a lab. Okay, let's just motion this dub set over to Trey. I'm sending him deep, and you're going to go, what the hell happened?
Yep.
It's hilarious watching people try. And I kept saying palms. And he never caught on. I was just trolling the hell out of this guy. Like, palms. You're looking for palms, brother. You ain't looking for quarters. You don't know. Stop complaining about the game. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Well, anyway, it's come a long way since Jacob was running all over people in Tecmo with Bo Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the guy.
Bo Jackson was unstoppable. Do you remember that scene in Family Guy where he's like, Peter, you're playing with Bo Jackson? He's like, I'm better than you. He's just running around back and forth.
It's a pretty good Peter voice there, man. All right, so just a couple more things here on X. Ian Rappaport, the 2025 franchise tag window opens today, and if history is any indication, there won't be much action until the window is nearly closed on March 4th. We kind of talked about that last night, so don't expect anything until the very end there. I thought this was cool. We many people complained about Ja not attending off-season stuff, even like OTAs and things. Same thing with Aaron when he was here those last few years. I thought this was awesome. Jordan Morgan on his story earlier, he was at Lambeau. He said Lambeau Field, but obviously he's at the practice facility. I thought that was really cool. Jordan Morgan putting in that work in the offseason, man. I want to see him take a big jump. And I think he's heard the noise of people calling him a bust. And in my opinion, man, that dude hasn't even really got a shot yet. They were trying to rotate him with Sean Ryan. Many people were watching the tape and going, bro, he needs to be starting over Sean Ryan. And Sean Ryan had one of his best seasons. So I'm excited to see what Jordan Morgan puts together this year. Man, we forget he was a captain in college. Yep. He's one of these dudes that his teammates absolutely loved him. A hardworking guy, very athletic. I think he's going to shock people this year, man. We're going to look up and go, damn, this guy's borderline Pro Bowl guard. I really believe that, man.
I'm with you. And I echo that sentiment. And you see it right here. He's working out now, right? Let's see fully healthy going into a season what he looks like. And him taking a huge step in year 2, that could shift the whole balance of our O-line just by him being able to go out and be a beast out there. So I'm not in that camp. I don't know why fans are willing to write him off so quickly. He was injured his rookie year. It happens,
Yeah. So Turtle says Morgan's going to be a beast. Greg Rice says Ja attended last year, right? He did. Ja was pretty much perfect attendance last year. And that's why we were like, all right, here we go, man. We cut. And then it was, next thing you know, he's,
Things could be a lot worse. I could be a Bears fan.
Just think about that, though. Like this time last year, Jordan Morgan wasn't even on the Packers, right? Like Jordan Morgan was literally just still trying to figure out what he was doing, coming out of Arizona and all that. So that's the nice thing about, hey, Coop now is going to have that. Jordan Morgan's going to have a whole offseason being, prep, trained, ready for NFL, got some, some plays in, get that shoulder fixed, and let's go to work.
Yeah, definitely. Like what Josh Martin says here, Morgan is our future left tackle. Listen, that's on the table. If Rasheed Walker says, no, I deserve more money than that, and Goody don't want to pay it, kick Morgan over to left tackle, let Rasheed walk, get a comp pick the following year, and move it along. That's kind of what we came to last night, right, Tim? We were talking Sheed. Yeah. Like, I want him back for the right price, but listen, we're not going to pay him $25 million.
I'm wondering if that's where the logic was, trying to kick him inside, see if he can play a guard position, knowing that we probably feel good about him playing the tackle spot. Obviously, he played there at Arizona, so they probably figured we got Sheed. Let's see if we can kick Morgan inside. If he can prove to be versatile, yeah, he's definitely an option. I would think that'd be like worst case scenario. You kick him to left tackle, and we kind of start over there.
Mm-hmm. I like Johnny B's comment here. He says getting Morgan and Lloyd back fresh, like having 2 extra draft picks, but with a year of team exposure.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
And listen, as bad as it sucks that those guys were hurt, isn't it a good thing that the Packers went on the run they did with the youngest team in the league, even with those injuries? Like, that's a positive. Some people look at it, it's all negative. It's not. Like you said, we're essentially getting 2 draft picks, extra this year. So
that's why we don't need 10. We already have 2. So we're already at 9.
Can't sign them all, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Bunch those things up and get back in the 3rd round.
Seriously, leave a spot for my tackle over here. He knows what he's doing.
That's why he's worried, boys. If we make all these draft picks, Travis Glover might not make the team. That's exactly why he's worried. I thought this was interesting. I want to get your all's take on it. I said, welcome to lying season, where anonymous team sources tear a player down so they fall to them a tale as old as time, as NFL Draft Files put this out and said, James Pierce Jr.'s character concerns are allegedly causing his draft stock to plummet. A playoff team's director of player personnel said he's, quote, in danger of getting dropped off our board, and that there are, quote, a lot of character concerns. Pierce is an elite analytical profile, elite film, SEC pedigree, and will destroy athletic testing. He was left off of the most recent Move the Sticks mock draft despite these facts. One has to assume these concerns are shared around the league. He will have to do well, I think is what they meant. He'll have to do well in interviews if so. Please don't let him fall to the Eagles, is what the guy said. Amen to that.
Right. They do not need another monster like that. 6'5", 243.
Yeah, we've got him. He's one of my draft crushes. I ain't gonna lie, man. We got him in the 14 spot where I'm like, man, imagine if he were to fall, and now all of a sudden that 3-man rotation on edge is Rashawn Gary, James Pierce Jr., and LVN. You feel pretty darn good about that, man.
And Cox,
and Brenton Cox Jr. That's right. Can't forget him.
I mean, guys, we're getting Max Crosby, so we don't need an edge,
The 2 things that bother me about this article, though, and this information is, first of all, this isn't my take that teams do this. Like, this is – remember Michael Lombardi talking about this all the time, Emilio? How all of a sudden all this dirty laundry comes out.
We had no idea about it. We had no idea about it all year long, and he was completely fine, running up and down in Knoxville, no worries. But now
on Cumberland Avenue, man, he get a salad at Charlie's on the strip.
Are you kidding me? Swing over to the Dollar General on the way back to the apartment? Are you? No way. Like, I mean, yeah. Okay, so a buddy of mine that. I get side from.
Here we go. It's gonna be good. Anytime a story starts with a buddy of mine, here we go.
Here's the guy.
He said that he met James Pierce's dad, and dude was salt of the earth, super nice guy. Really just excited about his son making it to the league, right? How can you not be? I don't think that. I really don't think that is super on point with that, but I guess we'll see. We never know. I'm not running around down there every day, so I have no idea. But I do think that his physical profile can speak for itself, and we've had people that were quote unquote head cases like Carter and stuff like that, where you got people like with issues, right? But what has he done for the Eagles, right? I mean, that's exactly why they probably said it at the bottom. Just please don't let him fall. What happened to Jalen Carter? He had off the field issues, falls right to the Eagles, and they go on a run and win a Super Bowl. So
that dude was bullying people all year long.
Like that not to happen. Exactly.
You ever think these guys intentionally have off the field issues so they
to fall to a good team?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey man, I can go to Philly.
It's not checkers, baby. Emilio, you said you're not running around down there much. You mean you're not streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium?
No. But everybody's doing it, so I don't know why.
Ready to go.
Think KFC's still open?
Yeah. Wow, looks cold in here, Rusty. What's up with that?
You think Calhoun's is still open? Or the Tennessee Grill. I think that's what it's called, the Tennessee Grill. You've never been there, Emilio, right?
No.
It's on the river, right across the street from Neyland.
I need to.
You know what we need to do? We're too close. We need to do this. We need to go set up a private tour of Neyland Stadium. We need to do that.
Dang, that would be. I haven't even been to a game yet. That's my problem.
Hey, we'll go tour the stadium. We'll go over to Tennessee Grill. Have too much to eat, too much to drink. I'll catch an Uber, or I'll end up, waking up underneath the Sun Sphere or something. You know what I mean? I'll hang down there in the week. Mike Witt with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says Daniel Jeremiah has us taking offensive tackle Josh Simmons out of Ohio State University. Don't know much about him, but I like the idea of building up the O-line and D-line like Philly. Yeah, we've got Josh Simmons fairly high, I believe, if I remember correctly. Let me see if we could locate him. We've got him in the 20 spot.
Yeah.
Where does PFF have him, Tim? You got any idea there, man?
16. 16. Their site keeps glitching on me, but I think as of right now, he's 16.
There you go.
94 overall.
Be totally on board with that. Go ahead, Emilio.
So was listening to that college draft show with Russ and Emory Jones. He was saying that out of the tackles, if it was Banks, let me just see, Banks, Campbell, right? He was the one from LSU. Yeah, Banks, Campbell, and Simmons. If it was those three, and Simmons wasn't hurt this past, because he got hurt this year. He messed up his knee, right? Got hurt at the end of the year. He said that if he was completely healthy, he would be the best tackle in the draft. And Emory Jones said that, but he called that they called Campbell syrup because all he does is pancake people. And he said that he's mean. He's an absolute mean mauler. So they tag him with syrup. So we might need to throw that in there. Banks is like more just like a tackle. And then he said Josh Simmons, if it wasn't for the knee, would be the best tackle in the draft.
My knee.
I like it. As soon as you said syrup, all I could think about was that Ron Burgundy video we watched the other night.
Oh, gosh.
I pleasured myself to Mrs. Sputtersworth.
She can get it.
Oh, no.
Bing, bang, boom.
Bing, bang, boom.
Oh, thank you for the super chat, Mark. We appreciate you. This water is hitting different than I'm just telling you, boys. This is water, I promise. Look, that is water. Oh my gosh!
It feels like a shin. It feels like a shin is what it is. So
to put a bow on the whole James Pierce Jr. thing, though, the point I want to make, there is zero details in that. You notice that?
Yeah.
Like it's not he did this or it was rumored to do that. It was just simply we're going to take him off. We might take him off our board.
Yeah,
he has.
Who reported it? Right? It's like, dude, come on. Yeah, where are we finding that stuff?
There's no.
Sit your butt outside.
There's anonymous sources, and there's no detail as to what it was he did wrong. Like, what are we even doing here? So, and the best thing he can do is not try to defend himself. Keep your mouth shut. Go to the combine, kick everybody's ass in every drill, and just.
Because all that's going to matter is who you talk to and meet at the combine and behind the scenes and everything that we don't ever get to see. Like all that interaction in between, like fine. And then those teams will be like, all right, fine. Yeah, no, he does have character issues, blah, 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 blah. You can say that all you want. All right, drop to me at 25, please. Like, yeah, dude's got character issues. I talked to him at the combine. Problem. Like,
and if you go through the interviewing process, if I were in his shoes and a team asked me, hey, what about these personal issues you got? I'd say, what personal issues? They go, well, I mean, there's rumors of this. And I go, I don't focus on social media. I don't have a social media presence. I'm all ball. Yep. Watch them. Okay, check it up the list and move right along, right? And then when you get to your said NFL town, you can run around and act like a fool like Jacob. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do. So
that's right.
There you go. So again, anything else you want to add? You guys want to add to that lying season topic there with James Pierce Jr. Good.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it time and time again every year when it's that time of year and you watch what's the one with Kevin Costner? Draft week?
Draft day.
Sorry.
The best, worst movie ever.
Exactly.
I love it. I watch it every year. Every year I watch it.
About that time.
Yep.
It is.
Fire up the old Blu-ray.
I thought this was interesting. Dan Graziano said, per a league source, the Vikings and cornerback Byron Murphy. You guys know we mentioned him early. He's not on my latest list of free agents, although he was on that short list that we listed earlier. Okay. Vikings and cornerback Byron Murphy have agreed to push back the void date on his contract. Originally, the deal voided 23 days prior to the start of the league year, either today or tomorrow. Now it's the day before the start of the league year, which means Murphy cannot be franchised since that date is past the deadline for teams to use the franchise tag. Interestingly, they did not reach the same agreement with quarterback Sam Darnold, whose contract still voids 23 days before the start of the league year. If they don't do a new deal with Darnold before the contract voids, then $5 million in remaining signing bonus proration would accelerate into their 2025 salary cap as they have money for Sam Darnold. Upshot here, they still can franchise Darnold, but can't franchise Murphy or Aaron Jones, who also pushed his void date back. So I don't think they would ever franchise tag Murphy or Aaron Jones, my personal opinion. But Sam Darnold, that's kind of on the table with the way he played last year. You guys got anything you want to add to that? I just want to mention, I thought that was interesting because he's one of the free agents. There's a lot that goes into this stuff. It's why we try to temper expectations on who's actually available in free agency, because there were players getting re-signed today. Andy Dalton, Jacob's favorite quarterback, right? He got re-signed today with the Carolina Panthers. Would you put that on me?
Just put that name in my mouth.
Don't put that name in my mouth.
Oh, God, you still have that drop?
It ain't going nowhere.
Got them all, man. Come on now.
Oh.
Get ready to go.
Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Byron Murphy was one of those free agent corners we were kind of, taking a glance at, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to maybe steal somebody from within the division. And, we talked about whether Josh stays or goes. We still need, between 1 to 2 to 3 corners for depth. So this is more information here starting kind of heat up a little bit. So I don't know. What do you think this really means, though? Do you think it means he's going to stay in Minnesota?
It kind of feels like it, because if they didn't have him in the plans, at a minimum, they're at least leaving the door open a little bit, right? Jacob, you started to say something, I think there. Is that what you're thinking here too, man?
I'm sorry. I was reading the chat. I was about to comment.
Okay, it wasn't you. It might have been a million. I thought somebody started to say.
I was just saying. I was just thinking that we got to knock out those smaller contracts, or at least the ones that we are 100% sure on. Let's get those knocked out, taken care of. All right, that's to the side. Where's our biggest issue? Where's our biggest holdup? It's got to be with Sam Darnold. Are we going to sign him or not? Are we gonna keep running with that or not? If you want to wait till the end, fine. You still have some time to work it. Vikings end before it gets out into the public. So I think that they still have time to get it squared away. I wouldn't see them. I really don't see them moving on from them. I think they like this so much. Because JJ's coming back from an injury. I still would say let's, run Sam back one more year. And if it gets out of hand halfway through, all right, JJ, you're starting.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right, let's go to the Patreon group real quick. We had a question in here. I'd like to get this mock in if we can. There's not going to be a morning show tomorrow, so we'll go we'll at least do an hour 20 tonight for sure. But here is Joshua Dodge. Or actually, Chris Ann, let's start with him here in the Patreon group, the questions for the show, or I'm sorry, favorite free agents. Chris just mentioned, I heard the average free agent premium is 20% on top of the market value. Tim, that's what we seen last year, wasn't it? It kind of felt like whatever the market value was, it went a little higher than that in most cases. So I think that's a pretty fair assessment there. And then Joshua Dodge in the free agent chat here in our Patreon group said Kristen Colon played right guard for Arizona, has played center. I also met with him the other week at work down here in Joplin. I think it is Joplin, maybe. Seems like a down-to-earth guy. Not great PFF scores, but perhaps a depth guy who has versatility at guard and center. I do remember him being on the short free agent list there. Not that he's short. There was a short list of free agents he was on earlier in the offseason that we hit on, and it had him listed as guard, but he could play center like you were saying. So I don't know, man. What's your all's take on him? I don't know enough about the guy, to be honest with you. I think, for the right price, I'm okay with bringing anybody and give him a shot, though.
I was just going to say, especially if he's versatile, right? Mm-hmm. Provides depth at guard and center on the interior, which would maybe allow you to forego one of those O-line draft picks and maybe – double dip on the D-line or grab an edge, grab an extra corner in the draft or something. I think it just depends on what route they really want to go, free agents versus, draft prospects. We're kind of doing that delicate dance of draft and develop and also bringing in, some established guys, even if they are kind of average to, below average guys that can just provide depth. You know what I mean? I don't know much about them either. But just on the surface, looking at it, not great PFS scores, but we know that's not everything. And I think Joshua has a good point here. Perhaps he's a depth guy, and a depth guy is 10 snaps a game, 15 snaps a game. You might need him to come in. So, I don't know. I think it just depends on what the approach is for Goody and the boys.
There you go. I see Chalupa talk in the chat in here with him. It's unbelievable.
Chalupa? We moved on from soft taco to chalupas?
You, man.
We need a little bit of structure, Tim. That's why you go to the chalupa. I mean, the soft taco you can lose it halfway through, right? So why not take a taco, throw some cheese in between there, seal that thing up,
By the way, let me just say this. They got these little pull-away burritos, little mini burritos at Taco Bell right now. They're kind of like mini grilled stuffed burritos. Excellent. But Emilio, the other day on the way back from a funeral from Kentucky, this right here, sir.
Thank you.
This it was my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law, a big old boy. He's like 6'3".
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
You met him.
Yeah.
He was like, man, have y'all tried those cinnamon delight things at Taco Bell? I went, hit the drive-through. I'm tired of hearing about these things.
My man. Did he get a 12-pack? Did they put it in the Baja Blast cup?
We got enough to kill a horse. We got like 3 bags of those things. And I'm telling you, I probably ate, I'm not exaggerating, I ate at least 12 of them.
They're delicious.
We loaded down with them, man. And what they'll remind you of if you're in where I'm from, there's a restaurant. I was in the floorboard of the expedition like that right there.
Chasing him down, one ran away from Bud.
Looking for that last nacho.
Oh, man. But yeah, they're solid. If you guys haven't had them, go
Melt
get
in your mouth. What were you going to say? What did you say?
Listen, you can order online using their app and type in the promo code PTA, and that'll get you $0 off of that. So check that out. But yeah, no, they were good, man. They were really good. We were, I tried 2 or 3, and I was like, okay, let me sneak this back.
Like, okay, now I know what Emilio's talking about.
I had 5 points of contact on that bag in the corner. Back there.
I was gonna.
Yeah. Holmes says we're stoned. No, we aren't, sir. You as a doctor should know it's medicinal. Okay.
Right.
Calm down. All right, let's do this mock draft. Y'all want to real quick? We got time. Y'all good with it?
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah. Again, shout out to everybody in the Patreon group. If you want to join our Patreon group, it's an awesome community. It's way more professional than what we do here live on the show. Just scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to patreon.com/HackerFan Total Access. And right in the middle of a promo here. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate it. Just do whatever you want to do.
You just hit the sub button on your way down there.
We're trying
to get to 4,000 before the draft. We're trying to get to 4,000.
Also, go follow Jacob's OnlyFans, all that good stuff. Okay, we're all over the place.
I just got to ask Tim a question. Ben Holdenpo, that's what made me laugh out loud / talk. He said Nacho Mama's in Milwaukee. There's little people walking around in the restaurant with sombreros with the nachos and salsa in his hat. It was awesome. Is that real?
That's the kind of vibe I need right there.
Really? I must have missed that in my Milwaukee days. I don't know. Okay. It's been a couple years since I lived down there. Not familiar.
I'll remove it. We don't even need it.
I like it.
Way to clean that up too with the PC. I like it.
I'm still learning, man. Trying.
Attaboy.
Say little people.
All right, so we're going to use a different mock draft engine tonight, gents. Is that good with you guys? We all right with that?
I like it. Let's switch it up.
All right, so this is Pro Football Network. One of the reasons I don't like using it, I haven't figured out how to get rid of the ads. So I'm sure some tech guru could explain how to do it on this site, but I subscribe to PFF and all that stuff, so we get everything kind of, ad-free. What we're going to do here is one round. We got all the teams selected, and we are going to select every pick from Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft, okay? That sound good? I'm sure I'll screw it up here somehow, but here we go. Okay, with the number 1 pick, he had the Tennessee Titans take edge defender Abdul Carter out of Penn State, okay? With the number 2 pick, he had the Cleveland Browns taking Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. Number 3, Travis Hunter goes to the Giants. Number 4, Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU, goes to the Patriots.
Syrup.
Don't you freeze on me. There we go. Okay.
Look at syrup. Yeah, buddy.
Mrs. Buttersworth. So number 5 is Mason Graham, the best defensive tackle in the draft, in my humble but accurate opinion, going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 6, Shedeur Sanders. It seems like everybody's got Shedeur Sanders going to the Raiders, no matter how many mocks 2.0, 3.0, what have you. So he'll probably end up out there in Vegas. I think that might be a good spot for him. Number 7 to the Jets will be the best tight end in the draft, and that's Mr. Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Number 8, the Carolina Panthers are going to take Jalen Walker, edge defender out of Georgia. You guys know they've got him listed as a linebacker here on Pro Football Network. Many people are listing him as an edge now, so I'm
right outside linebacker on college football, but only a speed power rusher. Like dude is not a cover linebacker. Do not put him back in there as stack backer, please.
There you go. What's the best card he's got?
Oh, he had a 92 season of the week. I think he was pretty nice for a while, but now we're in the 96s, 97s, 98s. So he's basically a replacement player now.
Good stuff. All right, so this is where it gets interesting to me. In the number 9 spot here, okay, Daniel Jeremiah has them taking Mike Green. So you go, okay, yeah, that's not surprising to me that he would get selected 9th here. But when you look at Pro Football Network, where is Mike Green at, boys? Look at this. Look how far down the list he is. They got him as a 33rd best prospect in the draft. That's interesting. Some people got him top 15. Some people got him outside of the first round. Pro Football Network has Mike Green at 33. And again, Daniel Jeremiah has the Saints taking him there with the 9th overall pick. Next is the Chicago Bears, and Daniel Jeremiah has them taking Kelvin Banks Jr. There's a lot of people that's mocking Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas to Chicago. I can see that. San Francisco
still suck.
San Francisco is going to take cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan. So they'll probably move on from Charvarius Ward, I would imagine, if that's the case, if they're going to go that route.
Come on over to Green Bay, brother.
Come on over, sir. Come on over. Number 12, Dallas Cowboys go with our boy Walter Nolan. Now, if you'll notice here, Walter Nolan is in the 29 spot, according to Pro Football Network. Okay? So he's going to go number 12.
How do we block Emilio from the private chat?
You just got to stop looking at it. I've learned that the hard way. You're talking about getting sidetracked. Tyler Booker is going to go number 13 to the Dolphins. Tyler Booker listed as the 16th best prospect here on Pro Football Network. Armand Mimbo goes number 14 to the Colts. This thing is struggling, man. I knew there's a reason I didn't like using this site. Mikael Williams, edge defender out of Georgia, is going to go to the Atlanta Falcons. That looks like a solid pick according to Pro Football Network. Number 16, the Arizona Cardinals is going to take our boy Kenneth Grant. Now, you'll notice they have Kenneth Grant all the way down at 31. We've got him significantly higher on our board.
He was the best guy around.
Number 17 going to the Bengals. They've got Jahdae Barron, quite a versatile corner in my opinion. Where is he at here? They got him at 32, so he's going 17 according to Daniel Jeremiah. Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks are going to take Gray Zabel all the way up at 18. That's wild. That's the first one I've seen where he cracked the top 20 in terms of a mock draft. Now, if you look at where they've actually got Gray Zabel here, they've got him in the 48 spot on Pro Football Network. So Daniel Jeremiah is way higher on Gray Zabel than Pro Football Network is. There's no doubt about that.
Higher than us too, right? He's not that high on our board.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Emilio, can you look that up? I know you're busy in the private chat, but can you tell me where Gray Zabel is on our board real quick?
Gray Zabel is let's see. Oh, no. Zabel. It's 52nd.
Yeah. So we've got him even lower than Pro Football Network has him. So, all right, number 19 to Tampa Bay. If they go this route, guys, they're getting, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the draft, to Terrell McMillan. If they get him, right, in Tampa, bye-bye Chris Godwin, right? Because now you're going to have Mike Evans on one side, Chris Godwin on the – or to Terrell McMillan on the other. Oh, my God. Could you imagine that? I mean, that's two monstrous wide receivers. Of course, if they do bring back Chris Godwin, well, that's a hell of a receiving core for Baker Mayfield right there. You think about it. So, again, that's the farthest I've seen McMillan fall in a mock draft so far. He got all the way to 19. That might be in striking range if Goody wants to get aggressive and actually go after a receiver this year. I don't know. Number 20 to the Denver Broncos is Colston Loveland, tight end. He's the 24th best prospect going 20 to Denver. 21, imagine this, Ashton Gianti going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That would be a match made in heaven there. He's the number 8 prospect according to Pro Football Network. And again,
if he drops that far, though, dude, could you imagine? Could you see like McDaniel not taking him, like for Miami or something like that, or even the Cowboys, anybody like that? I feel like he's going to be closer to the 10 range.
No, I'm with you, man. Dallas, Miami makes all the sense in the world. Trying to think of another team that needs a good. Many people said Chicago. I see that too. I could see him going to Chicago.
Carolina. I mean, Carolina needs everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
They need a new janitor too, man. They got the whole damn organization is stripped now. Number 22, he's got another running back going here to the Chargers, and that is Omarion Hampton. Okay, Omarion Hampton to the Chargers at 22. So here we are. The Packers are on the clock. Now, we had a spoiler alert from the Super Chat earlier from Mike Witt, as he pointed out. Daniel Jeremiah has us taking offensive tackle Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. But let's look at these names. Can you guys see these names okay? Can y'all see that all right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So tell me, who would be on your radar here if we were picking at 23 and these were the names available? The top ones available: Malachi Stark, safety out of Georgia; James Pierce Jr., edge defender out of Tennessee; Luther Burden, wide receiver out of Missouri; Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas; Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon; Nick Amanwore, I don't know how to say his name, safety out of South Carolina. He's the second best safety in the draft. Siobhan Ravel Jr. out of East Carolina in the 22 spot. Josh Simmons, the guy that Daniel Jeremiah has us taking their offensive tackle at Ohio State. Is there any of these guys that really grab your attention? You go, oh, no, that's definitely the guy I would take. And
yeah, a couple. Can you scroll back up on that list?
And we can go position.
Malachi Starks, I've talked about him before.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a versatile safety guy that could probably play in the slot for us if we need to. But the first name that jumps off to me is Derek Harmon. Derek Harmon for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I see Pierce, I see Harmon, and then I see Revel there, and I'm team trade back just with Coach Glenn.
Yep.
Okay. So you would trade back in this scenario.
That is correct, Clayton.
All
right.
Emilio's distracted.
Rocky Top has always been good. Rocky Top has always been good to me. So
can I tell a story?
I'm taking James Pierce, and he is coming. He is coming to town. Put the G on the helmet, man.
Mandy's going to kill me.
We got Rashawn, a running buddy.
Well, you just sounded like Mandy competed in a beauty pageant when she was she was young. I want to say I had just graduated, and she was like in her senior year in high school. So she traveled to Louisville, Kentucky to compete in this like Miss America teen whatever pageant. And they asked her a question on stage, bro. And it was hilarious. Like, that's literally was her response. And these girls, they try to sound smarter than they are. Mandy's the realest person you ever meet. She just went, absolutely awesome. Anyway, you're going James Pierce Jr. here, Emilio.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And that's what our board would suggest too, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, that is true, but I wouldn't. It's not because of that, but yes, everybody else is gone. Yeah, because the only other person I would have taken would be Membo, and building that wall in front of Jay Love, and I don't see unless he's down further. Is he down further?
Who, Membo?
I think so. Yeah.
No, Membo's already went.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So if he's not on there, taking James Pierce because Rashawn needs a running guy. Preston wasn't it. LVN hasn't stepped up to it, and Enigbare has came back off the injury. So I think we need a 1A or B kind of guy if we're not going to get Mac.
Mm-hmm. So Tim, you said Derek Harmon, right? I'm gonna
yeah, because I assume we're getting Max Crosby.
Max Crosby.
We don't need an edge, guys. Not in the first round.
I love the made up list right there. All right.
No, I like Derek Harmon. I'm probably higher on him than other guys are. Hell, I like Siobhan Ravel too in that spot.
Yeah.
I feel like corner is a little bit more of a need, but I know that's not a tier 1 position of importance or anything. But yeah, Derek Harmon's my guy for sure.
And Jacob is trade back. Emilio went James Pierce Jr. He went with the bad boy. He says bad boy summer. Bad boy summer out here. So
Jacob has one of those each year.
Under a different alias every year, right? Look at this. Read that for me, Tim.
That's Max Crosby.
Max
Crosby.
He was the best guy around.
That's the perfect spelling. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Yeah, it'd be hard for me to pass up on James Pierce Jr. too. Bad boy summer, got to do it. But I like Jacob's idea of trading back too. The whole Derek Harmon thing that Tim mentioned. I'm interested now. Here comes the ads, and I can't. What does that even say here? We tried the Stains for a while. Statons. What is going on right now?
Says we're trying to trade for Max Crosby.
I need somebody to Google that for me. What is that ad right there? And why is there not an X that cancels out?
Is it time?
Nobody better recommend another site than me to do a mock draft because this is what happens every time. This show does suck, Johnny B. Completely agree. So James Pierce Jr. at the top. Offensive line wise, Emilio, does anybody? Josh Simmons is in that
I'm
spot.
not mad at that. Like I was saying, Emory Jones was saying on Ross Tucker's pod that he has him as the absolute best tackle. And that maybe that's something we want to look into. I'm pretty sure Emory does a board as well, or he's got a guide. So maybe we look into that, Clay. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that if that's who ended up with it. I just worry about the knee coming out. But hey, if it's like we're rolling it into another Jordan Morgan kind of thing, if he gets out there, gets an injury, working him in that way. But I'm not mad at that one, no.
If we went position by position, and again, this is why I wanted to do this, so we could kind of deep dive who would be available. Tim, I'm not against the whole Derek Harmon thing, especially after the chart we just looked at. I think that's a solid pick. Jacob, I can see trading back because you got multiple targets here. Emilio, you're definitely taking the best player on our board. I know that wasn't your plan, but that's the way it falls, so that makes a lot of sense. Wide receiver Luther Burden, he's a little bit lower, right? What is he, like 27 or 28, if I'm thinking right, Emilio?
He is 20. Whoops.
I may be able to find
Lost
him.
him.
I got him right here. Luther Burden is 28 on our board. Emeka Egbuka, they got him at 26. We have him at 26 on our board. Wow, that's pretty wild. So I would be okay with Egbuka. Now, some people say, is he a true X? Is he going to replace Christian Watson? I understand that. I think the value could be good there if you're going to go first-round wide receiver. There's no precedent there, obviously. Matthew Golden, we have a little bit lower. I would not be good with that. We got him at 36 currently. So if we moved on to offensive tackle, we talked about Josh Simmons would definitely be the guy. Cameron Williams, I want to say, is a little bit lower, if I remember correctly. I want to say he's like closer to a second-round grade for us. Could be wrong. Where's Cameron Williams at, Emilio?
Williams. We have too many Williams. Cameron
Williams. Offensive tackle.
That's got him at 67.
Yeah, so he's probably significant.
I'm sorry, 93rd. I'm sorry. We had him 93rd.
That's I'm too drunk to taste that chicken. So Josh Simmons would be the offensive lineman. Wide receiver would be, like we said, Egbuka. Okay. Offensive guard, it'd be hard to take a guard here, in my opinion, at 23. But Wyatt Malum, where's he at? Do we know where he's a little bit lower, I believe. Donovan Jackson, Tate Ratledge.
Wyatt is not 57th.
Tate Ratledge is 63, so he's significantly lower. There's not a guard here that we would take, right? In my opinion. Center, Jared Wilson's there. It's way too soon to do that, obviously. Yeah. Gray Zabel's already off the board. If we go to defensive tackle, they got Derek Harmon as the top pick there.
Deion Walker, baby. Let's reach.
Hey, he's slowly climbing up, Tim. We talked about this. We knew it would happen. Told you.
Here's the guy.
Tyleik Williams. We have Tyleik Williams in the 37 spot, so that's a little bit too much of a reach. Derek Harmon, we've got at 24. I would be totally cool with Derek Harmon, like Tim was saying. Obviously, James Pierce Jr., I'd be on board with that. Shamar Stewart, I want to say Shamar Stewart's in the 18 spot, Emilio. So he's below James Pierce Jr., obviously, but Shamar Stewart's in that range too. I can see that. Linebacker, obviously too early. Cornerback, Siobhan Ravel. We've actually got Siobhan Ravel at the 17 spot, so that's another one I would be okay with personally in the 23 spot if this is how it fell. That's all the corners I'd be interested in, though. And then, of course, Malachi Starks, we've talked about him. He's in the 21 spot. So, I don't know, man. For me, if I had to pick a player, it'd be James Pierce Jr. I like Jacob's idea of trading back, and I'd also be okay with taking the best 3-tech on the board, which would probably be Derek Harmon. So, there you go. Mike Witt, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see what he said. All right, let's finish this out real quick so we can get a screen grab of it, and we'll save it. So, again, he went offensive tackle, Josh Simmons, Packers from Ohio State. I would be okay with that. I don't hate it. Minnesota Vikings would take Travion Henderson. This one surprised me. They got him at 63. That's 3 running backs in the first round. That does not happen often, boys. So, maybe he was just trying to get some engagement on Twitter. I don't know. Emeka Egbuka now goes just a couple picks after us. Obviously, he's going to go to the Texans. And then you got the LA Rams taking defensive tackle Darius Alexander. Now, I want to say they were significantly lower on Darius. Look at this, what I want to point out. 125
Jeez.
is where they've got Darius Alexander. Now, we got him lower than most too, but we don't have him all the way down to 125, if I remember correctly. So that was interesting to me that he would fall, or they would consider him that far down. And then next, Baltimore Ravens are going to take Shamar Stewart, right? They're going to get another solid edge defender like they always do.
Mhm.
That's okay because we got Max Crosby.
Donovan Jackson is going to go. He's offensive guard is what they got him listed at here. He's going to go to the Detroit Lions. They're going to continue to build in the trenches. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Bama, is going to go to the Washington Commanders. Maybe, who knows, maybe our boy Bobby Wagner is not going to be back, or this could be Bobby Wagner runs it back one more time and teaches Jahad Campbell how to be the mock. It could be the case there. Buffalo Bills are going to go wide receiver Matthew Golden, so he does not fall out of the first round. Looks like Luther Burden's falling a little bit, though. Kansas City Chiefs are going to go offensive tackle. They went back and watched that tape again of Philadelphia Eagles absolutely kicking their ass up front, and they said, we got to get an offensive tackle. So they're going to go Josh Connerly Jr., and then the Philadelphia Eagles are going to go with Malachi Starks, safety. Best safety in the draft. Could you imagine that? Throw him back there in that secondary.
He was the best guy around.
That would be wild. And as Mike Witt says, off topic, watching the Super Bowl and seeing DeJean have a pick six, all I could think of was Packers Twitter exploding right now. I knew it was coming as soon as he got the pick six. And what's crazy is if you watch the pick six, the return was awesome. Don't get me wrong. But we make it sound like he just made this phenomenal play. Like Patrick Mahomes hit him right between the numbers with the damn football.
Yeah, right.
And there was not a receiver anywhere. It was obviously a miscommunication or something. So I love how the fan base has kind of convinced themselves that was just this unbelievable interception. The return ability, again, phenomenal, no doubt about it. So there's the full results. Let's get a screen grab, and I'm going to throw that in our screenshots here for the show. So we'll have the Daniel Jeremiah mock 2.0. What do y'all think about that? I could try to zoom in here a little bit for you. How do y'all feel about it? Was there anything that surprised you with the way that mock went, as it's Daniel Jeremiah's second one of the year?
Running backs. I don't see that many running backs going on the first.
I don't either, man. I really don't.
That is true. The only rebuttal I'll say, Jacob, is the smarter people than me were saying, like, dude, when you look at it, like, who are the backs that are performing well? Like, I mean, most of the backs recently that are performing well have been, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley. Those are first round backs. Like, Bijan Robinson. I feel like Gentry's going to be like that kind of guy, just an absolute dog. So if you're hoping for a running back to tear it up, maybe you do take him in the first. You want that fifth-year option or something. But no, I see you're right. I don't see 3 going, but I just wanted to push back a little.
I would see, if anything, that number 12, that Dallas, almost every single mock draft I've seen or article says that Gentry's basically a Cowboy if he's there at 12. Which
you mean jerseys he would sell?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh, it would be gone. It would be just off the shelf. Jerry would be talking about it all summer. It would be everything that it would be about. And
all right, Tim, what about you, man? Anything stick out to you here?
Yeah, I'm ready to trade back, like Jacob said.
No, right.
I don't know. But then again, like you said, I'm not opposed to going O-line in the first round either. And Josh Simmons is a decent pick. But I'd rather trade back.
Got it. The big thing for me, another thing that stood out was Gray Zabel going 18. That was wild.
Yeah.
And I like Gray Zabel, but I mean, you climb into the top 20, and this is a dude that played at a small school.
Yeah.
Is he going to pan? When was the last? I'm trying to think, and you guys help us in the chat real quick. We'll get ready to wrap up. Is there anybody that comes to mind on offensive line that played at a small school that's in the league right now that's like, yeah, he dominates? You know what I'm saying? Like, he got Mitchell at corner, damn good year, right? That's one.
What about the guard from Central Wisconsin or Central Michigan? I can't remember who it was a few years back. I thought the Bucks drafted him. I think it was one of my guys. Man. Yeah, it's hard to pick one, though.
Yeah, it really is. And like, if you look at our board from last year, just going going through. Let's just go offensive tackle here. I'm trying to spot some of the smaller schools. I mean, there's no Yale. I'm a guys.
Right. I'm a guy.
I say smaller school. Obviously, Yale's not known as this football powerhouse, right? There's Houston, Patrick Paul, left tackle. And these are kind of the middle of the draft, though. They're not like up toward the top. Here we go. Jalen Sundell. We had a pretty high pick on him. Well, he's middle of the pack out of North Dakota State, but I'm trying to think. Did they sign him or draft him? Someone signed him as an undrafted free agent or sign him or draft him. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, so there's nobody at the top. This is now if you go to guard, you got
like Quinn Nelson or whatever. Wasn't he in a smaller like
who? You said Quinn Nelson? Is that what you said?
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, interior offensive line. I'm just seeing UConn Christian Haynes, but UConn isn't like a tiny school. Yeah, and that was the whole point there. Mason McCormick, left guard. He went to South Dakota State. So this is rare to have, at least from last year to this year, to have an offensive lineman at a small school be drafted that high if indeed someone does take Gray Zabel in the top 20 there. That's going to be interesting. So,
you know who came from a small school? Number 79 on your books.
Oh boy, here we go.
Where did he play? Where did Travis
Glover, Georgia State, baby.
Who?
He was at Georgia State. You're right. How can we miss Mike Witt with the super chat. If Pierce Jr. starts slipping, don't be surprised if Philly trades up for him, unfortunately. And I think Philly is going to try to get Warren to replace Kelsey this year.
He meant KC.
Yeah, he meant KC. We got you, buddy. Yeah, there's rumors. Ryan talked about this earlier, right? And I hadn't heard this until he mentioned it, that they're kind of pushing him a little bit like, hey, we need an answer. We need an answer. You coming back or not? You think they might be over those?
Check in with AFAM, see what he's got. Our resident Chiefs.
Such a smart ass, Tim.
AFAM, you still in the chat? What's going on? What's going on with the Chiefs?
Yeah.
We got you, Mike. We knew you meant KC, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but do you think there's a chance that they're tired of the whole Taylor Swift circus? You think? Or surely they like it, right? Did you say hope so?
Yeah.
I don't listen too much Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's to that point. I think that you want to get a decision from the dude. Who were they? They were saying that he's going to get a jacket and all that, right? But I give him some time. But yeah, I mean, you don't want this saga. You got to worry about it in the locker room too. Andy Reid's got to keep everybody on track. With Pat Mahomes being there too, so might as well replenish that position.
Yep, Jacob, is that who you were talking about? J. Cole asked Christian Mahogany, but that might have been him.
It wasn't him. I thought that wasn't Christian. Wasn't he a Boston College guy? Or
yeah, he was Boston College. Christian Haynes was from UConn. Jared Sundell from NDSU. Let's see, he's into Michigan. We had Greenfield from the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State. We had Driscoll from Marshall.
Who?
Ezerim from East Kentucky or East EKU. I'm not sure where that one is.
Chris Ann said he'd never leave Taylor Swift's side.
It was Luke Gedecki. Remember that name? Luke Gedecki. He's a starting tackle for the Bucks right now, and I think he actually scores pretty well, if I'm not mistaken.
And that wasn't last year's draft, but the year before.
No, the year before. Yeah.
Got it. Good stuff. So that's someone. Did he go in the first round, Jacob?
Nah, I think he went in the third or fourth, maybe.
And the whole reason I asked that is because, it kind of feels like this hype train has peaked with Gray Zabel. Don't be surprised if he slips out of the first round.
Right.
So. I see what you're laughing at, Tim. That's it. We're done. Everyone have a wonderful evening. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Special shout out, Mike Witt. You're too generous, buddy. Thank you for all the super chats, man. Everybody else in the chat, thank you guys. Thanks to the Patreon group.
Hit the like, hit the sub.
Hit that like, hit that sub. Definitely. We like I said, man, we're we're cranked up here in the off season. It's going to start to pick up big time now. What we'll probably do is try to taper back to one show a day, and because I feel like we had a lot of information tonight, and if we were doing 2 shows a day, we're kind of clawing at information. We don't want to waste people's time. And I know you guys like the multiple shows and everything, but if there's stuff to talk about, if news breaks, yeah, we'll go. We might go live in the middle of the day sometime to break the news. But right now, we don't want to put out content just to put out content. But we will be committed to doing 1 show a day for the most part. So again, thank y'all for your time, Tim, Emilio, Jacob. Emilio, thanks for the recommendation on the cinnamon bites, man.
That's what I'm here for.
Excellent choice. This show sucks. Bye.
There we go.
All right.
Bye, guys.